Aira Presents Explorer Stories, a look at the extraordinary and often ordinary stories of Aira Explorers as they use this technology in their daily lives. Today we present Stephanie Hurd, doing ordinary things independently every day. For some in the blind community, horseback riding, surfing, rock climbing, or zip lining might be the ultimate experiences to stoke their adventurer fire. For others, just shopping or walking through the neighborhood are really what matter most. And then there are those that do it all because they found that Aira brings with it the freedom to explore, experience, and engage in virtually anything they might want to do. Meet Stephanie Hurd.
As an Aira user, I have more of a fluid independence in my daily life. So I'm sure some people have extraordinary experience with Aira, and I think that's wonderful. And so some of the extraordinary experiences really for me are day-to-day experiences.
Stephanie first heard about Aira through a friend, and as fate would have it, had the opportunity to try it at the offices of Future Insight, where she creates and manages programs for the visually impaired community in New Hampshire.
I have a friend who lives in North Carolina. She was talking about, Aira glass and how the agent would see through these glasses. So I'm thinking to myself, that is pretty amazing. At work, where I work for a nonprofit that serves blind and visually impaired folks, in a meeting one day, our CEO said kind of casually, the folks from Aira are coming. And, my ears just perked right up. And I'm like, what? I basically invited myself to that meeting. And they did a presentation, slides and stuff, about Aira and everything. And then they got them out and I got to have hands-on time with them. And all of a sudden I realized, I am going to get to test these today, for guinea pig. But I was a happy little guinea pig. So we went outside, and so it's an unfamiliar area to me. I'm a cane user. We went around the block, and I did not know any of those streets. They weren't busy streets, but they were narrow side streets, and it was recycle day, trash day. There were lots of obstacles along the sides of the road.
So our happy little guinea pig's first adventure was on unfamiliar streets, full of obstacles that might be, daunting for a first-time user having had no training. Given that, how did this venture turn out?
I wasn't an official user yet, so not even having any previous experience, I was avoiding these obstacles going around the block, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. It was just so awesome that, very independent, liberating type of feeling. It was just a wide opening day for me.
Stephanie has found that this new service is making trips for work more enjoyable by enabling her to freely and confidently explore hotels. The information she gets from her agents gives her independence not previously possible.
I've been to a conference just recently, and that was, at a hotel that I've never been in. So, again, finding the front desk, and it was great knowing where the line ended. I love that because that was a big obstacle for me as a cane user, and probably most people using white cane. Or when is that line moving if you can't physically see it moving? I'd always have to ask the person in front of me, can you tell me when you're moving forward, so I don't want to hit you with my cane every 2 seconds to find out. So I didn't have to do any of that. The Aira agent would just tell me when that line moved forward.
And aside from helping navigate lines, locate elevators in her room, correctly swipe her entry card, and interpret the restaurant menu, Stephanie found her Aira agent delivering one unexpected but very welcome bit of information on a recent stay.
I was on a corner room, and I was glad to know that I had extra windows because typically, most hotel rooms are kind of similarly set up. And so I'm always thinking of the curtains straight ahead at the end of the room. But I was on a corner room, so I had extra curtains to shut. And so I'm glad I knew about that, to shut them all.
Like many explorers, she's finding that having access to handwritten and typed text opens a new door to information and interactions, and she's taking full advantage of that open door.
My younger daughter's in high school, and everybody knows when you have kids, they come home with, notices and paperwork and just all kinds of things. And she's a senior, so there's extra written things coming home. And so I can easily read that, through the Aira glasses with the agent. One thing I'm really looking forward to this Christmas season is that's when you get the Christmas cards, and no other OCR recognition or anything type software can read the handwritten notes that people often like to write with the Christmas cards. So I'm excited to be able to just sit down and have the agent, or, Aira Glasses, read some of those notes.
Of course, grocery shopping is part of Stephanie's routine as well, and she is finding this to be a more fulfilling experience, starting with a safer trip through the parking lot with the help of her Aira agent.
I don't live far from the grocery store, probably a 15-minute walk at most. You get to the end of, the sidewalk, the beginning of where the grocery store is this crazy parking lot. You have to walk through the parking lot. Like, there's no way around it to get around the edge to the side of the building. You have to go through it. I could have a tendency to veer. The Aira glasses were great. And navigating that parking lot with the Aira glasses was very meaningful as well.
Beyond the parking lot, Stephanie is finding a whole new shopping experience that she knows other visually impaired shoppers could appreciate.
Most people probably know the grocery store by heart who have vision loss. So, I know the aisles and what the categories of the aisles are. For example, I could find the milk. I know exactly where that is, all the way down the left side. But then it's like, okay, which is my brand of milk? Well, I'll just go ask the courtesy desk worker. But I still free from all that. You call up the Aira agent and, she signs the hood or the Oakhurst or whatever it is you want for your milk. And then things you really didn't think about before, what's the expiration date of this milk? I don't want to go home with, something that's going to spoil tomorrow.
But Stephanie's new independence, shopping for her own household, can now extend to another's. And this is something that is very special to her.
I help my mom out. She often doesn't like to walk a lot. Now I can help her. She can drop me at the store. I'll go in and get my things and pick up something for her. At first she was like, you can do that? Being able to help somebody else out instead of always waiting to be helped is a fabulous feeling.
This active explorer enjoys a walk through her neighborhood and shares a story about a distinct advantage that Aira has over her white cane, especially on those days when the intoxicating fragrance of a fresh rain makes it impossible to stay indoors.
I like to walk around my block through the neighborhood, just to get out and get exercise or just to be out. And so, on a normal day, that's fine. But, after a rainy day, a nice heavy rain, I've had, and probably I bet plenty of people have had that low-lying branches in your face shower from the branches hitting you, and you get kind of soaked. And you're like, oh. With the glasses on, I kind of know where those areas are on my route. And certainly if I was on a new route, I could just leave them on if I knew, we had a heavy rain. And if I was in an unfamiliar area. And it's, that's one of the things I'd like to know all the time is, are there low-lying branches? I don't need a face shower. And so it's easy. They're like, 20 feet ahead, you have some branches. You're to the right a little bit, a couple steps to the right, well, you're around it.
But for this adventurer, a walk around the block is just the start.
We're going on a cruise. My husband and 2 daughters and I, and we're going to Cozumel, Mexico, and Grand Cayman. I'm very excited to try the Aira glasses out again on the bigger experiences, right? So the everyday things are fabulous, and so now I'm looking forward to that bigger adventure with Aira.
Stephanie feels that, although some might believe that true independence means having no human assistance at all, she does not agree.
My opinion of having the Aira glasses has made me feel more independent. I see it as independent from that reliance on family and friends always asking. There's still always things you're asking them. Sometimes you might be asking them for rides or things like that. You just never know in life. So it's one less thing that I have, or many less things when you really think about it, that I have to call them up and ask, people for this or that. It's a paid service of asking my family and friends from so many things.
At the end of the day, whether Stephanie is at work teaching a technology class for other visually impaired people, traveling for an event or a conference, shopping, or just hanging out with her family, Aira is becoming a part of her day. And when she sums it up, it's easy to see why.
It's pretty simple. I found a greater level of freedom and independence for sure with the Aira glasses.
Aira, instant access to information and enhancing interactions with others. Subscribe today. You can find more information on Aira on their website at www.aira.io. That's AIRA.io. We'd like to thank Stephanie Hurd for chatting with us today. This has been a Blind Abilities production. Thanks so much for listening, and have a great day. you.